All right, commissioners, members of the public, I'm going to convene this special meeting to order with roll call. Commissioner Andrades is not present, but will be joining us. Commissioner Field is absent. Commissioner Fuentes.
Present.
Commissioner Levine. Oh,
Present.
commissioners will be reminded in this room, you must turn on the microphones and turn it off. Commissioner Lewis is absent. Commissioner Mack.
Present.
Commissioner Mesa is present. Commissioner Murray is absent. Commissioner Sanchez.
Present.
Commissioner Stein.
Present.
Commissioner Thomas is not here yet. Commissioner Yap.
Here.
Thank you. All right, we have a quorum. Commissioners and members of the public, I'm actually going to invite our special guest and presenter to come up and join us at the dais to take Commissioner Andrades' seat since Commissioner Andrades is going to be late. While he comes up, I am going to do an introduction that will probably not do him justice. Today we have a giant in the Los Angeles civil service and duty joining us today. We have the previous chair of the appointed Charter Reform Commission from the late 1990s. But in addition to that, George Kiefer has an extensive background in civic society, having been the chair, for example, of the Board of Regents of the University of California, leading the mayor's task force to Los Angeles's response to 9/11, and being the previous board chair multiple times for the Los Angeles Area Chamber of Commerce. It has been a delight to get to know George through this process, and it was an honor that he welcomed the invitation to join us today. So, commissioners, we're going to have up to 10 minutes for remarks from Mr. Kiefer, and then 10 minutes for questions from any commissioners, and then we'll move to general public comment. George, please.
Thanks. It feels like I am home again. So let me say a belated congratulations to all of you for being on the commission and then thank you for taking the time to do all this, because it takes a lot of time and attention. I relate to your pain and to your hopes, really. My recollection is that our commission was formed in 1996, and we worked through 99, 3 years. We had a full budget. We appointed our own attorneys. We appointed our own staff. We appointed our own media representatives. I mean, we were pretty well set up to do what was still a difficult job. And there was an elected commission at the same time as the appointed commission that I chaired. The elected commission was chaired by Erwin Chemerinsky. But the point is, we had a great deal of independence and a great deal of resources and a great deal of time. You were given, I'm just going to tell you what I think. You were given very limited support in comparison, and not the same independence, even though people try for independence. Independence is when you control everything. You were dealt a very difficult hand, and from what I'm seeing, it appears that you've handled the hand about as well as you could under the circumstances. But it's nearly impossible to do what some people think you are doing, reviewing the entire government apparatus of the city and making recommendations on everything. It's nearly impossible to do that with the tools that you were provided. Nonetheless, you can, and I think you frankly will, make a considerable contribution to the city because you are the Charter Commission, no matter what resources you didn't have or staff or what have you. But in addition to whatever recommendations you make, I have a recommendation, a suggestion for you. It's sort of presumptuous to jump into your meetings where you've looked at everything, you've listened. I come in as an outsider, even though a sympathetic one. I think the most important recommendation you should start with, even in your report, is to call for a deeper dive charter reform over an appropriate period of time with appropriate staffing, with appropriate independence, separate counsel, separate media help. I think it should be fully funded. And I think that you need to say specifically what you are not doing as much as what you are doing and what you recommend to be done in the future in terms of a fully funded commission to get into the problems. As Rick Cole has talked to you before, there's a great perception that the city isn't working. But why isn't it working? A lot of people point to the charter, change the charter, change the charter. It's going to take a deep dive examination as to why things get stuck, where they get stuck. And it may not be a charter change, or it may be. But the right charter change is only going to come from an examination of what is causing something not to get done, the street light not to be fixed, the street not to be paved, the infrastructure not to be built, whatever it might be. So that's why it takes so long. And there's a sort of quick actions can be done on a few things, but not the entire charter. I'd also say that if under those circumstances, that charter commission that I think you should recommend should have private conversations with city staff who in private will tell you things that they'll never tell you in public meetings. You can do that. You can avoid rules to that and get the information that you need. It's out there, but difficult. This is a whole, another thought I have for you is that the fewer recommendations you make under these circumstances, with the council having full control of anything you do, the fewer recommendations, the better. That will be stronger. The more recommendations you make will undermine the important ones you want to make. So I would be careful about that. And I would urge you not to make recommendations that you know are dead on arrival. They will only undermine your credibility. The situation in the city right now is such that there's going to be a race for mayor coming up. And you can make it a race about the city just because of who you are and what you say should be done and called for. And that means not that you answer all the problems, but you point out a few and then say the rest need to be dealt with in a certain way. So fewer proposals are better than a lot. And getting into areas where it's better to think about whether it's really something you want in the charter, or you want in the administrative code, or you want to be a policy directive. A lot of ways to do it. People in our people called for such things as, requirements for abortion, gender equity, these things, you got to think about them all. Are they charter issues or are they other kinds of issues? A couple of the issues I'd talk about, and then I'd ask you to talk, and I'd like to just talk to you like a former member, even though it's a long time ago. 10 years is pretty short for complete charter reform. If you just add up the time of appointing, whatever the method is, hiring staff, if it's a full thing, hiring your own teams, making the recommendation, and then implementing them, you're probably you're in the fourth, fifth year already of this thing. So I would think maybe just consider that, and maybe it's a longer period, but an earlier start. Start the process 15 years and make it a 20-year report. Give more time, but if you do it too fast, it'll just be considered run of the mill. People will do it for rote reasons. They got it done, and that's it. So I have some other thoughts, but I don't know if I've gone past my 10 minutes already. Some quick things you can imagine I do support, because we recommended ourselves an executive director of public works. but certainly hear from the Bureau of Public Works people why they don't like that. But I do think it's an improvement. The expansion of council, honestly, I think it may be helpful for taking care of fewer people, but I don't think it'll change the governance much to go from 15 to 23. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you could pick a number. The elected controller, I would strongly urge, but I don't have all the information that you have today, that the controller not be directed to audit other elected officials. I think it's a temptation for politics. And if there are programs within the elected officials' offices, I would say, why are there programs within elected officials' offices? We're heading towards a legislative executive distinction. That's where this is all heading over 50 years. And so I just would be careful about giving the controller political power over elected officials. The departments need more exempt positions. I don't know if you've covered that, but there's exempt positions allow you to hire outside of the civil service process. The airport needs them. They need experts. It doesn't come from the normal personnel within the city. Department of Water and Power needs experts. It doesn't always come. It should come. And overall, the city needs to return to a sense of professionalism, recruitment, training, and promotion that it once was known for, honestly. So those are some opening comments. I associate myself with some of the remarks made by Rick Cole when he appeared before you. I'll leave it at that for right now.
Thank you, George. Before we jump into a dialogue and Q&A, I do want to go through our ex parte communication disclosure real quick. Commissioners and members of the public, just so everyone's on the same page, I'm going to read the motion so commissioners understand the disclosure requirements. An ex parte communication is a communication between any member of the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission and any elected city officer or member of any elected city officer staff regarding a matter pending before the commission. An ex parte communication does not include any communication that takes place on the record during an official public meeting. The requirements of this section do not apply to communication between a commission member and a member of the city attorney's office providing legal counsel. A commissioner shall disclose any ex parte communication at the next commission meeting following the communication. Any off-the-record communications that take place during an official public meeting shall be disclosed before the adjournment of the meeting. Disclosure shall include the time and date of the communication, the form of the communication, the approximate duration of the communication, if applicable, the identity of the persons who participated in the communication, and a summary of the content of the communication. The summary shall include a general description of the types of charter reforms communicated. Commission members or commission staff may ask a commission member to resubmit communication disclosures that are not sufficiently detailed. The Charter Reform Commission staff shall maintain a public database on the Charter Reform Commission website where a log of ex parte communications can be found. The charter staff shall update this log within 72 hours of an ex parte communication disclosure. Failure to comply with the requirements of this section shall subject the commission member to potential censure by the commission, and the commission may resolve to recommend the appropriate appointing authority initiate removal of the commission member. A violation of this section shall not render any action of the commission or commission member invalid. Commissioners, I will go around the dais and ask if any of you have had any new ex parte communications since your last commission meeting that you need to disclose. Commissioner Fuentes.
No.
Commissioner Mack.
None.
Commissioner Yap.
No.
Commissioner Stein.
No.
Commissioner Mesa, no. Commissioner Sanchez.
No.
Commissioner Levine.
No.
Thank you, commissioners. Pardon that interruption, George. I should have done it right before you started. Appreciate your remarks, commissioners. I would like to just open up a dialogue. Any questions that you may have? Who would like to get in the queue? Commissioner Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Kiefer, for the privilege of having you here today. As a mentee of Castro de la Rocha, I know he's a big fan, and I also want to congratulate you for your recent recognition at the LA Area Chamber of Commerce.
No, thank you.
My question for you is, what is a single structural decision your commission made in 1999 that has had most unintended consequences for the city of Los Angeles?
Boy, that's a tough one. I don't know that. I was just speaking to someone in the audience who I was talking to, just happened to chat with. When we created the neighborhood councils, we were advised that the way it could be set up would not require some of the limitations like Brown Act and other things that would permit a more flowing kind of conversations. And following adoption, the city attorney's office took a different position. I think it's not an unintended consequence on our part, but I think it kind of created a bit of a mess with the neighborhood councils in terms of organizing and getting going. And so I haven't measured how they're doing recently, but something you just did, I have to say this is a personal viewpoint that I agree with Ezra Klein as opposed to Ted Stein on this one. And that is, we sort of bogged ourselves down, apart from the neighborhood council question, with a lot of regulations that make it difficult to talk to each other. The ones that affect the council members who theoretically can't talk to each other in certain circumstances because they're not in a public meeting. Absolutely kills real discussion. This is something that we've overdone in California and in Los Angeles, so that we've tied ourselves in knots about even solving problems. That's a personal viewpoint, and where we can look to unleash kind of where it still protects people, but let people talk and figure things out. Because they're all, as I said at that meeting the other night, everybody's in bubbles and everybody's afraid to get it out of their box because they're going to be criticized for being not 100% with them 100% of the time. And you can't do that if everything is always in a public meeting.
Thank you.
I want to note for the record that Commissioner Thomas has joined us. Welcome. Other commissioners? Commissioner Fuentes.
Thanks. Oh, sorry. Thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Speaking for myself as well as the full commission here today. I think you highlighted some really important key differences between both of our commissions. Appointing your own staff, appointing your own media, different transparency that brought along as well. So I was curious in terms of what your ex parte disclosure setup was. Ex parte disclosure between council members, the mayor, for your commissioners. What did that look like at the time?
That's good. That's a good point. I think as my recollection is we were freer to talk to whomever we wanted to talk to. We did our appointed commission as a meeting of the whole, always, so that everybody heard everything, just as we decided to do it that way. But if people wanted to do their own checking and research and things, they certainly could. Times have changed. I mean, there's a lot of worry about political influence, quote, but politics is there. So we didn't, I don't recall that we had that. It may be that if I look back, that we had to do something along the lines of what you're talking about, but certainly not to the degree of spelling out everything we talked about. So if you wanted to go talk to somebody and get some advice, you did it. I mean, it was probably more trust probably than in society today.
Yeah, I think that makes sense given you were able to appoint your own, that those guardrails weren't necessarily needed in the same way.
They were that. Yes, that's exactly right. That's a smart take on it, because if you have that independence already. Didn't mean commissioners didn't come in with their own viewpoints and, and their own friends on the outside that they were, thought they were speaking for, but we all knew it.
Commissioner Thomas.
Sorry I missed your presentation, but the little bit that I gleaned is very important, and I want to ask a couple of questions about that. Number one, do you think that was your commission ever accused of not having the expertise to make certain decisions?
And then Commissioner Thomas, if you want to get all of your questions stated, just because we have other commissioners in the queue and we have a limited time with.
Oh, I'm
presenters.
sorry. I thought you were pointing to me too.
No. If you have other questions, just to state them all,
I
just
got you.
because there's other. Yeah.
So number one, did you, were commissioners, did they need to have an expertise in particular areas to be able to decide particular decisions? He wants me to go in a row, so I'm sorry. Number two, would you find it to be, would you consider it to be problematic if the construction or the development of this commission was based upon racist comments that were made by city council addressing Black folks, and then this commission just unilaterally erases all of the concerns that the Black community has had? The third question is, and I think I'll be more specific with the first, do you think that this commission is qualified to make a determination on police accountability? And so do you, in your experience, in terms of the commissions, was there ever an issue that you were told you were not qualified to decide?
I would say that because we were independent, we made our own judgments of where we were qualified and where we were not qualified. The Christopher Commission had completed a review of the police department and so forth a few years beforehand, and it made little sense for us to get into that. I think that so that's the first point. If you're on a commission, you're going to be criticized for everything. So you just have to take it and make your own judgments about what is the right thing to do. But I do think the reason I said that commissions, when you're looking at the whole charter as opposed to a particular one or two or three issues, why you need so much time is you need a lot more information than the average person, and I was an average person has. You need to hear a lot. People think they find the answer. They grab it on like, this is magic, this will change things. And then but when they learn more, they learn it's more complicated. You've got to blend in this or blend in that. And so I think that as a matter of expertise, we sought expertise. We had the time to seek expertise. We didn't presume we knew. And we gathered, that's why we had a staff, and why we were lucky to get the independence. The circumstances of the politics at the time allowed us to be independent.
And I don't want to cut you off, but I have one more question that I neglected to ask. And it's really centered in being Black on this commission. Being Black on this commission, what I have seen is your expertise don't matter. And what I'm wanting, what is very important for me as a commissioner, you had an independent board. I mean, you chose your own staff. We did not. And the way the governance has gone, in my opinion, has been led by staff. And there's not been the kind of transparency that I think there has needed to have been where staff is concerned. And so if you had a conflict with staff and commission chairs, because it's not just staff and fellow commissioners, how was that dealt with? Because what has been offensive to me is that, and it's not everybody, But what has been offensive to me is the fact that this commission was developed around trying to address the issues facing the Black community. And this commission had 18 meetings before they heard from their first Black-led organization. And those Black-led organizations brought issues to this commission that were not on the agenda, that is not on the agenda of many of the elected officials, but yet this commission has on a continual basis acted as if how Black people feel don't matter. And so I'm torn as to whether or not I need to continue in this process because it's offensive. It's offensive to me as a Black person, and it's offensive to the Black community. And I don't let people offend me, and I don't let people offend my community. And so what I'm asking is that is the conflict. So I don't know if you all had a similar conflict, but it's not just happening with the Black community. The API community has been offended as well. And so, and to be honest, for Los Angeles to have as many Latinos as we do, they haven't necessarily been heard either. And so my question is, that is the conflict. So did you all have a similar kind of conflict? And if you did, what did you all do about it? It's a whole lot, I know.
I can't comment on what's going on in your
No, I know.
commission. It's not my business. It's, and if you would want to talk separately, I'm happy to give you any thoughts I have. But I think that you commissioners have to make their own decisions about what they believe is appropriate. We had at the end of, I would only say this, at the end of our commission, we voted unanimously to support the charter changes that we had. And then one commissioner changed his mind, when it went to the polls, and said he was going to change his mind on it. So people are always going to feel like their view isn't heard, and you have a legitimate viewpoint. I think you have a voice. You can say it. It's not for me to decide or help.
No,
you.
I'm asking about, was there conflict on your commission? And if so, how did you resolve it?
I
just gave you my.
Mr. Thomas, of course, I ran a perfect commission. There was no conflict.
Just want to know.
No
I mean,
conflict at all.
I'm going to hand it to to Commissioner Levine for our last question. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time on this item. Commissioner Levine.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Kiefer, for joining us.
Did he answer? No.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Levine.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank you.
Mr. Kiefer. Appreciate the work that you did over many years, and your commission led the process you led 25 years ago has been frequently referenced in these deliberations and by the public. And so that was important work, and appreciate you sharing some lessons with us today. My question is, given the distinctions that you noted between the timeline that you all operated in, and I'm the newest member of this commission. I've only been seated for the last month and a half or so. So just this year. What did you view as, over the course of the 3 years that you were seated, the unfinished business of that commission? What was not gotten to?
Sorry, we did not get into what we call now the second half of the charter. The politics at the time just sort of made it impossible to get into the kinds of things that are now in the second half of the charter. There's a background to that as to why that we could talk about it or not talk about, depending on what you want to do. But that's an area that has not been reviewed at all. And that's one where I would encourage not you, because it's really detailed, really complicated, and there's a lot of history behind all of it. It should be deeply reviewed by a future charter. And it's one of the reasons why I say that your first recommendation should not be what you're going to recommend, but why you are not, what you're not going to be recommending. In other words, what you're not in a position to do, as opposed to what you are in a position to do. And that is one of the things that you're probably not in a position to do, but should be handled at some point in time.
Actually, for closing questions, it would be Commissioner Stein, and then we'll move on.
Mr. Kiefer, thank
Oh,
you.
you're-
Thank you for coming down here today. I just got a couple of questions. How many recommendations did your commission make to the council, and how many eventually went onto the ballot? If you recall.
I can't hear. It was this interesting process in this way. First of all, while we were making recommendations and while we were sorting it, you can do these 100 ways, Ted. I mean, you don't have to do it one way. But we were writing the charter also in draft as we went. We directed the staff to keep writing and working on it. And then we had items that were in disagreement with the elected commission. So we brought a package of things to the two commissions over a period of months that they would take a look at as a package of things and adopt. So I can't say to you that they were items. I could probably guess that they were a lot of items separately because we did the entire charter rewrite. Now, there are some provisions we got to and said we're leaving that alone because we don't even know we're not sure of the implications of changing it, really technical stuff. But there were a lot of, quote, recommendations, but we put them into language. And that reminds me of one thing I wanted to say to you all. The ad hoc, the list of these things is very difficult to understand for a layperson. And you don't have your own media people. If you want the public to understand what you're saying, you're going to have to explain each recommendation and why you're making it and what you thought about in balancing why you make it. That's why the fewer recommendations, the better, because you want to justify what you've done rather than just throw it out into the air. But we had a lot of recommendations, Commissioner, but we wrote a charter. We didn't just make recommendations. And therefore, in the end, the politics was such that the elected commission and the appointed commission coming together gave no choice to the council but to accept all. Well, they couldn't even vote on it because it went directly to the people. It didn't go to the council. Now, the council also approved it because by that time they had to, but it was a compromise. Charters are always compromises too. You don't get what you always want. So I'm sorry that there was a longer answer and more
That's
complicated.
okay. The question that was raised by Commissioner Thomas on police accountability, while James and I get along very, very well personally, we disagree on it. So, and again, what you say probably isn't going to sway his vote, and it's not going to sway my vote. But on the issue of police accountability, where we have not had a number of experts that the Christopher Commission had and staff that the commissioner had, would you think that we should be going into 14? Right now, there's 14 separate items that could come in front of the commission, or my recommendation, which be have the mayor, whoever that person may be, set up another Christopher Commission.
I think you should set up another Christopher Commission. I think it should be a one-time commission with full representation from the community and people with stature on it. And it should exist and make recommendations because the politics today and the divide in the city on the issue of the police is important enough to have a commission. But I think if you were to undertake that yourselves, you would not have the credibility that the Christopher Commission was able to develop. Warren Christopher didn't have that understanding either. But there was a commission created that then gathered that information and made it. But I do think you should call for such a commission. I think you should that's why I think it'll go, I'm going to repeat it again. Most important thing is the call for a commission to be done completely, fully, independent, with staff, with time. Calling for that will make a statement and cause elected officials running for mayor, council, to take a position on whether there should be. So you can change the dynamic going forward by what you call for, but not necessarily doing everything yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Kiefer.
Thank you, Mr. Kiefer, for joining us this evening. If we could give our presenter a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, I would certainly like to speak with you afterwards. Oh. I would certainly like to speak to you afterwards. I found your comments quite interesting, particularly the last one. So I would certainly like to get a little bit of insight in terms of your response, because I actually talked to Erwin Shermaninsky and he totally disagrees with you. So I just kind of want to understand what the divide is. Thank you.
Great. All right, we will now move on to public comment. The commission will be taking both in-person and remote dial-in public comment. Each will be allotted a maximum of 30 minutes for a total of no more than 1 hour. I will hand it over to the staff to administer public comment. Do we know the number of speakers that have signed up so far? I think we're getting the list. Give us 1 minute, everyone.
Hey. How many? Already, Mr. Chair, we have 20 people signed up in person and 21 online. So let me do a little math here. 30 divided by 20 people. So if we have 30, too many numbers, 30 divided by 20. So about 1.5 for folks to give public comment on each.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Folks, we'll do in person first. And I'm going to call folks 3 at a time. And please line up. I will give you a 30-second warning when we're in your back 30 seconds. So here we go. Tiffany, sorry.
Can you not give a 30-second warning, because it's been disruptive? So just say done. If
Okay.
you would. Thank
I don't mind. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but
Yeah.
you know, it
people were it threw them off.
Okay. Tiffany, last name is Jerain. I can't quite pronounce the first name. And then Rob. Rob, not Hoff. Okay, I got the first 3. Is that mic working?
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, it just might not be very loud, so you might have to.
Okay, how about?
Perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Okay.
So
Okay, hold on. Let me get my timer ready. And begin.
good afternoon, Chair and members of the Los Angeles Charter Reform Commission. My name is Tiffany Quarles, and I am a co-chair of the Lineage Equity and Advancement Project, known as LEAP. LEAP is a Los Angeles-based policy and advocacy organization, and we're also part of a statewide coalition, the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, which advances reparations for Black Americans who descend from U.S. chattel slavery, also known as American freedmen. I'm here today to formally reaffirm LEAP's support for the motions we have submitted to this commission and to respectfully urge you to bring them forward today for discussion and favorable consideration. LEAP's motions propose amending the city charter to establish a Los Angeles Freedmen's Bureau, to recognize lineage as a foundational and administrable principle for equity policy, to formally recognize American freedmen in the charter, to acknowledge reparations as a legitimate municipal responsibility, and to recognize anti-Blackness and systemic racism as a public emergency. These proposals are not symbolic. They are designed to provide clarity, legal durability, and accountability in how the city addresses harms that were created and sustained through government action and public policy. On behalf of LEAP, I respectfully ask this commission to discuss these motions today and to vote in favor of advancing them as part of the charter reform process. Thank you for your time and your service to the city of.
Thank you. Right on the mark. Next.
Okay.
All righty, and go.
All right. First, I would like to call for the removal of Jim McDonald from the police commission for his ridiculous comments on 2 weeks ago, stating that he would not be enforcing the no mask law under any circumstances, even if it does go through, which I think is extremely problematic, and he needs to be removed immediately. Because when we start picking and choosing what laws we're going to enforce, we start to encroach upon fascism at a quicker rate, right? We're already headed there. And anybody who paid attention in history class knows that we're headed there. So let's be extremely realistic about that and hold our government officials accountable. Secondly, there needs to be an investigation of LAPD officers moonlighting as ICE agents immediately with an extreme sense of urgency. Like, we need to identify exactly who is enrolled as an ICE agent, like yesterday, because these people are attacking our community. And I have a very strong feeling that the same officers that get all of the complaints are the most egregious ICE agents, right? And that's exactly why Jim McDonald doesn't want to enforce the no mask law. Third, what can be done to reduce the latency of accountability for LAPD and the police commission? Because what is an emergency to us seems to fall on deaf ears for them, right? There's nothing done about the remarks that were made.
And thank you, time. All righty, Rob. After Rob, I have Thandi, Abdullah, Michael, and Gwendolyn. Thandi, Michael, and Gwendolyn after Rob. All right, and begin.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Rob Notoff, Deputy Chief of Staff with the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor, where we proudly represent over 800,000 workers across all industries here in Los Angeles County, including our teachers, our janitors, our hotel workers, construction workers, Hollywood workers, grocery workers, and everything in between. The LA Fed has been closely monitoring the work of the Charter Reform Commission on behalf of our entire membership, and we applaud each of you for doing such a tremendous amount of work in such a short amount of time and with few resources here. The LA Fed will continue to provide written and public comment on issues and topics that are important to our members. But we're here today to say that the residents and workers of the city of Los Angeles are all still counting on each of you to complete this critical undertaking. With so many pressing issues at hand, we strongly urge the commission to remain focused on the core challenges at hand, bear down and send recommendations to the City Council by the April deadline. So we thank each of you for your time, your service, and especially your sacrifice on behalf of our 800,000 members and the 4 million residents of the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and begin.
So first of all, I understand that the person you had up here talking was saying that we might need a new commission. We have enough commissions. I don't know what it is with the city hall, but for some reason, y'all step in here, you could have just been normal Angelinos before you step in here. But when you get in here and you get these positions, you forget what it's like to be a average, everyday person living in this city. The reality is, this is not a safe city for Black and brown Angelinos. This is a very dangerous city. I live in an area that I thought was safe. It's a Black area. I live in the Crenshaw district in District 10. I am seeing so much more police. They have the most inflated budget in our city. It's the only thing that is sustained, that is fat in our city budget. Everyone else is taking pay cuts. Everyone else is being laid off. Every other department is crippled. But yet here, LAPD is attacking our young people when they're trying to exercise their First Amendment rights. they're ganging up on people walking home from school. I see it. I see the helicopters everywhere, and I see our city fund, like our city resources just being drained, the potholes, the trees, like nothing is fixed, nothing is working, nothing's beautiful, but somehow we have money for guns. Somehow we have money for police. I want the city council and the mayor to have the authority to override the decisions made by the police department, made by the police commission and the tribunal.
And thank you, time. Michael,
Howdy.
begin.
This thing on? Howdy. Thanks all for your time. I want to, my name is Michael Eagle Hall. I'm here to advocate for ranked choice voting. I want to thank the ad hoc commission for voting to advance ranked choice voting. As we all know, we're here to try to restore faith in city council and city government. And if that's what we're trying to do, then ranked choice voting is surely a good step in the right direction. And if only because it allows folks to enter the voting booth and vote their conscience without having to worry about throwing their vote away. We also know that ranked choice voting changes the nature of campaigns. It encourages candidates to engage in consensus building rather than mudslinging. And we know that it lowers the barrier to entry and encourages a broader range, more diverse range of candidates to run for office and to win office. I went on the Fair Votes website to kind of refresh myself on some of our talking points here, and I noticed they had posted a couple quotes from council members in places that already have ranked choice voting. I wanted to just share those with you because I thought they were illuminating. Here's a quote from Rebecca, a St. Paul City Council member. She said, "I door knocked a number of people who had signs up for my opponent. The conversation didn't have to stop because they had already pledged to someone else." I thought that was kind of nice. And here we hear from Myrna Melgar, a San Francisco supervisor. She says, "Now that I'm a sitting supervisor, having run
and thank you, time.
That's quite a bit because I now have all
thank you, time
with people in my district who are not.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your time. Be well."
After Gwendolyn, we have Jan, or yeah, I think that's Jan, Ross and Rob. Okay, can you, for folks who do give us things, also please email it to us afterwards so we can post it onto the website. Thank you so much. Let me start your timer. Yeah, okay, and begin.
Hello, my name is Gwendolyn Henry. I'm a member of the CFAC committee, which actually meets just down the hall once a month. We are somewhat like you in being appointed. So I want to thank Commissioner Fuentes for item number 3, which is considering agendizing the CFAC recommendations towards the landscape plans and the overall green space goals of the city. Commissioner Thomas, your voice is important. Please do not be discouraged. Continue with your participation. It is about environmental justice. It is about equality and many other things. And the CFAC also is dealing with environmental justice. So I am so glad that Commissioner George Kiefer gave his advice today. The CFAC recommendations actually address removing the departmental inefficiencies, the silos, streamlining functionality, and facilitating departments working together. So the CFAC committee actually works with quite a few different departments. We usually have a representative.
And thank you, time. Next, Jan.
Hi, my name is Jan Williams. I'm with Black Lives. Hi, my name is Jan Williams. I'm with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. Today is our weekly In Police Associations action, which we call organized crime, which we know police only pilfer the public purse of resources. So today, Black Lives Matter is calling. Oh, I can't read this. I can't see. thing that we want we want the city council and the mayor to have power to override the decisions made by the police commission. We want taxpayers to stop being to stop double paying for bad policing, and we want them to pay out of their own budget, and we want their police union to be accountable. And we don't want another commission that's going to allow another dozens and hundreds of people to be killed by police while y'all study shit. We also endorse the motion submitted by LEAP, as well as the LA Black Worker Center. And we want to see, what is this called? The ranked choice voting to must be over 25 so that it does not disenfranchise Black voters and Asian voters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ross.
Thank you, commissioners. Good evening. My name is Ross Weisstraffer. I'm a volunteer with the Fair Rep LA Coalition. And this commission's commitment to equity was publicly questioned just now. So let's address it. How can this commission increase equitable participation in the charter reform process? Political science research tells us the answer is the two C's: contact and connection. And in today's coalition letter, shared in written public comment, Fair Rep LA and other orgs made clear that we cannot connect and contact the public without two additional C's: clarity and certainty. Will the subject matter of each meeting be as clear as possible? And will it be certain that this meeting's time and subject will remain the same? Because this meeting's time and subject matter has repeatedly shifted over the last 72 hours. And it is more vital than ever that every meeting's purpose and nature be as clear and certain as possible. And I see topical buckets have been designated on the commission website for future meetings and an item reform tracker established. And while this is a good start, please continue to add as much information as possible about the specific reforms being considered as possible and tie them to each meeting. With the executive director's report posted less than 24 hours before this meeting, I ask that the time of our volunteer commission also be respected. In these final weeks, it is more important than ever that we hear the explicit request of materials be posted at least 24 hours in advance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rob. Rob is next. After Rob, we've got Nicholas. It looks like Jennifer, maybe. Last name Goody, and then Michael Feinstein. Rob.
My main ask is that you stop the charter scam. You vacate all of the ad hoc recommendations, schedule additional meetings over the next 2 weeks so that we could actually have real focused deliberation. That committee was a scam every single step of the way. And then at Saturday's meeting, we had a new surprise. They decided to only send some things forward, even though we were told just a week before, everything's going to come forward and just with the recommendations. You need to now juggle 3 reports to even understand what is or maybe not moving forward. Now we get just 1 day's notice of what will actually be on the agenda, and we're told that it's the last day to make any additional motions on what this ad hoc committee recommended on this topic. The ordinance passed by the council asked for 5 days' notice for a reason. This is why I'm at the point where I would prefer to see that this whole entire commission is dissolved. I'd rather have the more experienced and relevant hands of our council handling things and give them an extra 2 months. Something that really disturbed me recently was the executive director telling me that I should be happy with the way things are going, because so many of the reforms I asked for are moving forward. I know that might make some sense to a soulless political mercenary out there, but this isn't a transaction, bro. I resent the idea that I should ignore what's going on and accept a sham process because I get some things. I want successful charter reform that can deliver a better city that actually passes. That's it. I could care less if I see my pet issues move forward. What does matter is that we don't send a heaping mess forward that either implodes at the council or even worse, at the ballot box. Lastly, Justin, get your ex parte.
Thank you so much, Nick. Nick is next. Nick is next. Nick.
Pass the ex parte disclosures.
Nick.
I'll take the maximum time allotted. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for the work you've done through this whole process and for bringing these reports forward. If I may restart. Good afternoon, commissioners. I appreciated the perspective shared today from the 1999 Commission about avoiding recommendations that are dead on arrival. That is a fair concern. Reform that never reaches voters should not serve the public. But at the same time, I should caution against narrowing your vision too early. This moment is different. Public trust is lower. Expectations for transparency are higher, and LA is changing far more rapidly than it was a generation ago, and that includes 1999. This commission's role is to identify what the charter actually needs in order to function better over the long term. It is not to pre-negotiate every idea based on how it may be perceived inside City Hall. City Council will ultimately decide which recommendations move forward and how they are packaged across multiple ballot measures. That is their responsibility. Yours is to be honest about what is structurally broken and what will fix it. And to that point, I want to highlight the need not only to advance ranked choice voting and for a council size that actually allows the people in this audience to have a fair shot at talking to their council member or even running. But I also want to highlight the importance of a city controller that's actually able to audit different things inside the city, including elected officials. I also want to highlight and thank Mr. Thomas, because I don't think he gets enough thanks for bringing up things that are not siloed issues. The dependence and the future of our city relies on every single person within it feeling safe, heard, and seen. And honestly, this is not a zero-sum game. Prioritizing the needs of our people of color in our city is not just an idea that is only.
Thank you. Next,
But not-
Jennifer. Jennifer's next.
Hi, Jennifer Goody, Secretary of Mid-City Neighborhood Council, speaking on behalf of myself as an individual, but I do have 2 CISs to present later. First, I want to thank you for your service, Commissioner Thomas, and I understand you not wanting to put up with what's happening, but you do bring a needed voice to this commission. Secondly, I just, thank you for the former commissioner for presenting, but things are different now than they were in the 90s. How many city council members were in prison at that time? How many were indicted? How many were under investigation? Not as many as now. And in terms of ex parte communication, the assertion last week that ex parte communication would open staff up to political violence is so absurd and ridiculous that to call it laughable is an understatement. Their names and email addresses are public information. It's public record. We know who works in City Hall because we pay their salaries. I'm on a neighborhood council. My name and email address for my city work is publicly available. That's what I put up with from my public service. It's what you do when you serve the public. So to say that I can't even address how absurd that assertion was. And to bring Paul Pelosi into it, come on.
Thank you. Next, Michael. After Michael, I have Johan, Chantel, and Trina. Johan, Chantel, and Trina are after Michael. Please queue on up. Michael, go.
Great. Michael Feinstein, former Santa Monica mayor. So Mr. Kiefer mentioned in his presentation how important it is when you make a recommendation to the council to say why. I want to remind everybody that we gave you a compare and contrast memo that once you look at ranked choice voting, and if you go ahead and recommend that, we've laid out the basics. It saves the city money by holding 1 election instead of 2 because ranked choice voting just happens in a single election in November. It makes it cheaper for candidates to run. It spreads out the public matching funds on 1 election instead of 2. It is a more diverse turnout in November elections compared to primaries. Primaries are low turnout and less diverse. So all of those are and of course it eliminates vote splitting. So those are pretty simple. What we hope you will wait to do is get to proportional ranked choice voting at a future meeting, because just this week we handed you the first in-depth chart and mapping from voting rights professionals to look at sizes from 23 to 33 seats. And respectfully, I don't think you can make a decision about both the size that you recommend and whether proportional ranked choice voting should be forwarded to the council until you have the time to go in deep into that work that we provided for you. So
thank you so much, Michael.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you. Johan
So nope.
or Chantel, are you Chantel Daniels?
No, I'm not. My name is Janae Tyler.
Sorry, I've got Johan, then Chantel ahead of you.
Okay. They're not here. Or are you Chantel? Okay.
Go for it. Oh, yo, to someone. Anyone? Sorry about that.
Hello. How much time do I have?
Minute and a half.
Okay.
Now.
Make this real quick. I emailed y'all a lot of mapping, and knowing me, I brought paper copies so y'all can have it. It's different configurations of single member district ranked choice voting, as well as multi-member districts. And please take a look at it and have a spirited debate about it. Also, please, I urge y'all to support adding proportional ranked choice voting back to the recommendations for the ad hoc committee. And while you're at it, might as well just add the hybrid system that was discussed in the committee with single member districts and regional districts, because why not, right? Also, I know there's no more ad hoc committees scheduled unless they're going to be more scheduled. We haven't seen it yet. And I know there's some issues that the Los Angeles Black Workers Research Center brought up that have been discussed on the personnel and budget. I think it's like line 78, plus minus a couple lines. Hopefully y'all can discuss those issues. I mean, there's people coming in here. They've been coming for the last couple of meetings to talk about their issues. So please have that conversation as well. I think it's very important, especially when you have committee members coming in. And yeah, thank y'all for being here. And then lastly, thank y'all for adding single member district ranked choice voting as part of the recommendation from the ad hoc committee. I know I'm happy with it, but I'll be happier if y'all add proportional as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chantel. Did you already email that to us, Johan?
Yes.
That was already emailed. Okay, so we have that already on public comment. Thank you. Chantel. Well, perfect. Thank you so much. Go.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. And as usual, you'll receive an email from me of my report. I'd like to first note for the record that I submitted written correspondence along with an addendum regarding agenda posting timelines and the need for meaningful public review time on newly posted materials. My name is Chantel Daniels, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a resident who has been closely following the charter reform process. And my central concern tonight is process. Charter reform cannot happen at the speed of politics. It must happen at the speed of public trust. That's what we're here for. So I want to respectfully urge this commission to take the time it needs. Commission to take the time it needs, to not expedite structural changes to align with any mayoral election size, because a charter is not about one mayor. It's the governance that will shape Los Angeles for decades. And I think it's important to step back and ask a foundational question. What is the mission of the charter? I'd like to leave the commission with a few guiding questions to carry throughout the process. Does this expand public trust or concentrate power? Does it invite meaningful community participation or distance governance or resonance? And does it strengthen oversight?
Thank you, Chantel. That's time. Trina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the cousin of Keith Porter Jr., and she didn't get the chance to write her name for public comment. So I would just ask the commission to please respect the fact that she came all the way. Her cousin was killed by ICE here in Los Angeles. She came here to turn her pain into purpose, and she wants to make a public comment. So just please.
So this is, just to make sure, this isn't Trina.
This is not, this is Janae Tyler.
Okay, where is, are you Trina? Okay, just want to make sure we have a Trina though, still.
Okay with this, Miss Trina?
Okay.
Okay.
And I would like to say, please be sensitive in terms of don't just cut her off because she had a loved one that was killed. And I really wanted to make sure that she spoke because I don't think y'all have seen people who have been killed, family members who have been killed. And so this is the real deal. Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas, appreciate you inviting the speaker. I just want to say that I'm going to ask the staff just to treat everyone consistently, but I would.
You haven't been treating everyone's consistency because we're going from 90 seconds to 3 minutes to 2 minutes. So we've been all over the place. And so, yes, I understand what the process is. But the fact that you all don't even want to deal with police accountability, the fact that you all don't even want to deal with what is happening out here in the community, you at least need to hear her. And so so whatever needs to happen so that you can hear her, you need to hear her. So that you understand that there are real consequences to the decisions that are being made. And I know this ain't discussion time, but there is going to be a discussion about that guy that sat there and how did he get there? She should be sitting there. You haven't heard about reparations. You bring in this person. I don't know where he came from. I don't know who he is. I don't know who invited him. You should let a community member sit there and have as much time as they need to explain and be questioned. This is wrong.
Thank you for that, Dr. Pastor. So my name is Janae Tyler, and I am the cousin of Keith Porter Jr. And I've been sitting here being quiet, but I guess I have to, continue to show up everywhere because at this point, I find everybody complicit in the fact that his murderer is still on the street. This is the Board of Commissioners. We have the Board of Police Commission. We have DA Hockman. We have Mayor Bass, who have all refused to move on actually arresting and convicting the murderer. Any investigation that has happened has come out through community investigation. So when you guys talk about, when it's been brought up about the detachment from your Black and brown communities, make no mistake, these are not just immigrants who it's still wrong as hell how they're doing immigrants because there is a process. First of all, let me start there. But my cousin was at his home in his residence enjoying New Year's Eve. The story that has come out by DHS is false. We have witnesses that are scared for their lives to come forward because they don't trust LAPD. They don't trust that there is a board of commissioners that will actually hold other people in office and people on these streets accountable for our lives. And so I am going to continue to show up everywhere that I have to on behalf of my family. My cousin shouldn't be reduced to buttons. He shouldn't be reduced to a hashtag. This is a father that has been snatched from his daughters. This is a cousin, a son, a friend, a community member. And everyone is just sitting here acting like nothing happened in Los Angeles. We're acting like the only atrocities have happened in Minnesota. Keith Porter happened before any of that. I am here to charge you guys individually or as a board to find some humanity within yourselves and start asking the hard questions of DA Hockman. Somebody needs to snatch Chief O'Donnell down. How is it that this man was removed from being the chief of the sheriff department because of his views and his stance with ICE and then appointed to be the chief of police? That is, I was gonna say disappointment, but it's not even a disappointment. It's a stab in the heart to the community. It's shameful. So what is the point of a commission if you guys aren't gonna actually start holding people's feet to the fire? If you guys aren't gonna start doing community assessments, where is the community impact data? Where are the polls that need to go out and ask how many families that are Los Angeles citizens that have been affected by the atrocities, that have lost loved ones? We have LAPD who covered up or attempted to cover up everything that happened that night. From the fact that their response was wrong. My cousin was 153 pounds. I weighed more than him, but we buried him at 220 pounds because they left his body outside uncovered in the rain all night. While they sat there calling for someone that was already dead to come out and surrender. With no medical aid, no assistance. And that man went back into his apartment without surrendering his service weapon, without going in for a proper interrogation, without being given a sobriety check. No protocols were followed. So regardless of ICE and the fact that he should have never had a gun in the first place or working for any agency. This man has child abuse charges. He has racist, homophobic rants that he's gone on. He's facing charges for brandishing a firearm at a child soccer game. But this is who we've let out on the streets with our people. And then LAPD turned around and didn't even hold his feet to the fire when he called the police after he murdered my cousin. We don't know what kind of drugs or alcohol or whatever else he was on, but this man went back to his bed and went to sleep. Now he's been PC'd up and moved somewhere for his protection. When again, like I said, because of the agencies we're dealing with and because of the lack of faith in our government officials and in our police department, the actual witnesses that we do have that could come out and tell on record what happened that night, but we now know what happened that night, are too afraid from their lives because they don't feel like they will be protected by the city and the county that they've spent their entire lives in, that they serve in, that they vote in. So again, thank you. I will say thank you for letting me speak. I did try to properly sign up. Unfortunately, the machine turned around and said there were no meetings happening. We need answers. We don't even need answers at this point. Like I said, the community investigation has gotten all the answers. We need charges pressed. We need an arrest to be made. This man is not safe to be on the street. What are you guys gonna do about it? No one's even asked any questions about where they are with the investigation. No one, DA Hockman said that the only way that he would bring charges is if LAPD homicide handed them the case on a silver platter. They didn't do their due diligence, but the community and reporting has, and we've handed them everything. Ben Crump shouldn't have had to come out here and have a press conference to make Mayor Bass finally say his name. So my question for you guys is, what are you guys gonna do now? You have a live human being here, and I have to keep putting my pain on display because no one else in the family is strong enough to handle it. It's not fair to me, it's not fair to his mom, it's not fair to his children, it's not fair to any of us. I work with students, I work with families. How am I supposed to be whole for them when no one is coming and standing up for us? So I'm gonna leave you guys now. I know I'm probably over time, but my question is for each and every one of you. What are you gonna do about it? Are you guys gonna put the pressure on DA Hockman? Are you guys gonna force LAPD homicide to turn over an investigation? Where do we go from here? But there has to be justice for my cousin's murder. It can't be in vain. This man cannot be walking the streets. I know what it takes to get a gun permit. I have a gun permit. I'm a licensed, registered gun owner. I would never have been able to get a gun, let alone serve in any type of enforcement capacity with that man's record.
Executive Director, if we could move to virtual public comment, please. We've exhausted our 30 minutes of in-person public comment.
Justin promised that she would speak. Do we have two more speakers? We can do two more.
Commissioner Thomas, we're going to move to.
I did call Trina. Trina was the last name that I called. So I think it makes sense.
And
then
there's only one more after her. That's Pastor Ray. She should be allowed to speak. There are other people. Oh, there are other people.
Trina.
This is Trina. I'm Trina.
And you're Trina.
I'm Trina.
You're Trina. That's what I wanted to hear.
I'm Justin.
Go ahead, Trina.
Okay. I first think I should say no more useless commissions that will allow police to continue to abuse and murder people with no consequences. My name is Trina Traylor, and I am the campaign and coalition manager at the Los Angeles Black Workers Center. And I'm asking the commission for more transparency and agenda so we'll know when it's appropriate for us to be present. Also, with ranked choice voting, we need ranked choice voting to be over 25 to avoid disenfranchising Black and Asians. Do not move to expand less than 25. I support the motion submitted by LEAP to create a Freedmen Agency in the Charter of the City of Los Angeles and ask that you vote in favor of these proposed amendments. Support the charter language that makes workforce equity enforceable, include modern hiring practices and independent oversights, build permanent pipelines into public sector careers, require real recruitment in underrepresented communities, embed accountability systems that prevent racial disparities. When Black workers strive, Los Angeles thrives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trina. We're going to switch to virtual public comment.
My name is Reverend Ray Huang, and I was going to thank you for your leadership, but the way that you are treating every single person who is speaking here is disappointing.
Speaker, you're disrupting the meeting. You are disrupting the meeting. You are to.
You're did the same thing to our Woodland Hills Water Center neighborhood.
Speaker, go sit back down. Go sit back down.
That's for sure.
Uh,
There's 3 people left.
So
We don't need the police going.
You're causing this yourself. You're causing this yourself. You're causing this. You're bringing this on. It's 6 minutes. It is 6 minutes to hear from them. You're causing this yourself. And what you need to understand is this is probably just the beginning.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
So I have been instructed, if the room does not get under control, to clear the room under the Brown Act. Everybody will be removed.
That means everybody, including us?
It means the members of the public will be removed. So you're disrupting the meeting, as are you, okay?
Excuse me, city attorney. Can I ask the city attorney a
So,
question?
No, actually, right now, I have been instructed by the chair to have the room cleared. So the
Most of our
instruction
meetings have
from the
operated
chair
in a
is to
very
clear the
different
room.
manner. Is the public is familiar with this format, which most of our meetings follow?
So
It makes
Most of
sense
our
that
meetings
there's
are
confusion.
different. And again, I'm saying it again, Mr. City Attorney. Is it that when people think issues, there is a different standard? What is it? Is that the case? When Black people are voicing their opinion, why is there a different standard? Give them 6 minutes and they will sit down and do what they need to do. You got 6 minutes. You need to stop and clear them for 6 minutes. Are you insane? Now throw me out
Let them speak.
for 6 minutes. What is wrong with you?
Sergeants, there's an order from the chair to have the room cleared.
Clear it.
I'm the vice chair of the Reparations Advisory Commission. I waited patiently.
So,
Y'all don't even know where to tell things apart.
so everyone in the audience, you have been instructed to clear the room.
Share the knowledge we have, and you just honor it with your behavior.
So everybody has been ordered to leave the room, all of the public.